Hello. Welcome back to the Hoodrat2Harvard podcast, season 3. As I told you guys, we're going to have some guests this season. And so one of my guests reached out to me, and she's one of my mutuals on TikTok. And she sent me over some products a couple of months back that were awesome because I have eczema, and her products specialize in skin for people who have eczema. Um, and so we're going to be talking to her today. But I am your host, Chandrika Simmons, attorney Chandrika Simmons, also known as the Law Chick, or my alter ego on social media, Hoodrat2Harvard. So subscribe to me on all platforms, Hoodrat2Harvard, that's Hoodrat, the number 2, and Harvard. If you don't know how to spell that, shame on you. All right. So for this episode, we're diving in and we're talking to CEO Carli Abram, who's the CEO of Pollynation Apothecary. Did I say
You said it right. That's right. Apothecary. Yeah.
I mean, getting tongue tied, but welcome, lady. What's going on?
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
That's great. Okay, so we want to talk about your products. I have them on display back here, and I know you have some on as well. But let's talk about your profession or your roles in life that you identify yourself as. What are those?
Ooh, the roles of life that I identify myself as. Well, I'm an aunt, right? Um, I'm an entrepreneur, right? I'm a visionary. I'm a wellness thought leader. I'm an eczema warrior. Um, yes, I'm a businesswoman, right? I found her. I'm all those things, right? A sister. So yeah.
Okay, that sounds awesome. I'm all those things as well, in addition to a whole lot more. And honey, a lot comes with that. So
Mm.
over here at Hoodrat2Harvard, my Hoodrat2Harvard crew that follows me, we like to say things like this. What we do over here is read books, talk shit, and watch documentaries. So I have a question for you. What book are you reading now, or you have just read?
Ooh, that's a good one. I used to read a lot. I could finish a book in just 2 days, and now since I became an entrepreneur, it is not the same. Okay, but I'll tell you one thing. This book here is one. I don't know if you can see it here. This book is one I always love to read. It's called Being and Vibration by Joseph Ryall. And so, one of the things I love to do, I love to study different healing modalities from different cultures around the world. And and then with that study, and I use it to create innovative, unique healing solutions. And so this book here is celebrating the healing arts of the Native American. I'm one who have studied the different healing arts of Native American, and Joseph Royale is from a certain tribe in the Native American community, and I love his work. So this is
Okay.
one I always read and reread. And then this one here, if you can see this one, this is one that I need to read. It's on my list. I've had it for a while, but it's called My Grandmother's Hands, and it's talking about the racialized trauma and pathway to mending our hearts and bodies.
Oh wow, my grandmother's hands. And then the other one was called Being in Vibration.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to pick that one up. That sounds like a good read. All right.
Mhm.
That sounds good to me. All right. So next question. If you were given $5,000 free and clear with no strings other than you can't use it to fund a current business venture, what would you do with it?
I would go on a vacation. Chandrika, I would go on a vacation. I would
Ah!
go to some type of wellness spa or some place where I could, I don't know, what's coming to my mind right now is like either Peru or India or even a trip to Africa. I would use it to do something big and be there for like 3 to 4 weeks. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I came with that question because that's what I want to do. I just need a vacation. I want to rent a villa with a chef and a pool and just stay in it and and no phone, no anything other than to take pictures of what I'm doing and
Yes.
detach from social media. So I'm down with that. Vacation sounds awesome, especially for those of us who are serial entrepreneurs and always starting something. We need a mental break. So
Absolutely.
we know that you're a CEO of a major brand that is doing major things, but um, in climbing there, how has your friendship circle been impacted?
Mm, that's a really good one. it has evolved, and I continue to come back to this question in my mind of, is this relationship serving me? Has this relationship ended its course, right? Um, because sometimes relationships, they have their seasons, right? Or sometimes it's a lifelong relationship. And so I just check in, mentally, spiritually, emotionally with myself. Has this relationship ended its course? Yes, we were friends since we were in our 20s and we didn't have families or children or anything yet. And now, I mean, we're in our 40s. I just joined the Colt 45 crew. My friend told me yesterday. Yesterday was her birthday, and she was like, "You are part of the Colt 45," and I was like, "Oh, I like that.
Oh,
I like that." And so I will evaluate, and so sometimes it was like, yeah, no need to hold on to something that was meant for that season in my life. And then sometimes it's like, nope, yep, this is still my road dog, this is still my girl, and we're gonna be rolling together, for a long time. So my circle has gotten clear. Some have, fallen off. It doesn't no longer work, because I've also gotten clear with my boundaries. Like, my boundaries have changed over the years,
yeah.
and that's just what it is. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm a boundary setting bitch. I am going to set a boundary, and I pray that whoever thinks that they can step over it, that God shows them grace.
Amen.
Because I got to take care of me. If I don't take care of me, who is?
There
So
you go.
I agree with that. So given that being a CEO, starting a business, especially in the climate that we're in now, and how we've grown up, and that's being a Black woman, what is the biggest challenge you've had to overcome in your mental health?
Mm. Whew. That's a deep one, because part of my eczema healing journey
Mhm.
um, has been conquering a lot of my shadows. It's been partly shadow work, healing work, deep stuff, that I didn't even know that I still needed healing on, right? Because I'm one who always have looked at, how do I improve myself, right? So I would love to read a self-help book when I had more time before being an entrepreneur. And so I didn't think I had that much stuff to work on. And in this journey, it was like, woo, I got a lot of stuff to work on. And I've been working on stuff for years, but okay. And so, it was really getting a hold of my emotional well-being and understanding that, in my 20s and in my 30s, I didn't always man my emotional well-being properly. And this is why it had to come out and speak to me through my skin and through my hair and other means on this eczema healing journey.
Now, talk to me about when you say shadow work. What do you mean by that when you say shadow work?
It's the stuff that we don't talk about. It's the emotions maybe that we stuff down. It's the traumas that we've experienced in our lifetime. And so it's, and things that sometimes you don't even know was a trauma when you're a kid, or even as an adult, you didn't know. It could be bullying. It can be any of those things, in your personal life, in the workplace. It's also dealing with ancestral stuff too, that
Mhm.
you don't even know is passed down to you. The way you think, the way you just naturally be and show up, the tools you use to help you maneuver through life, um, all those levels.
Yeah, I just put up a post on social media today, um, discussing that being poor is traumatic.
Mhm.
The things that you're taught, particularly with eating food and finishing food and doing things like that, and I battle every day trying to overcome that. So I think that may be one of my shadows is the poor, all the things that come from the trauma that comes from being poor, having finished food, and doing things around food because you might not get any, or you've been told that you have to finish it regardless of how it tastes and how it looks. I am battling with that on a daily basis. So I guess that's part of my shadow work, I guess.
Absolutely. And any brokenness we have.
Yeah. So now let's get to the good stuff. So now we
Mhm.
have this new line of products that's geared towards those of us who suffer from eczema. And I know from being part of a community of people with eczema, meaning pretty much everybody in my household, that eczema in the African American community is running rampant. And a lot of it has to do with genetics as well as our diet and the environment that we've been displaced in for some of us. And some of us are native to this world. So to this country, but it's still nonetheless. I think diet plays a part in it, and then the genetic things. So, what your eczema journey? What is it?
Wow, that's deep. In 2019, at some point, as I started to go deeper in my healing work as a healer to bring forth the best solutions for you all and everyone. I went deeper in my own healing work. And as I started to study the different healing modalities of the Native American, and so that called for me to deal with all my stuff
Hmm.
on such a deep level. Um, and so with mine, it was my skin darkening like 7 shades. It was, going through feeling like I was being struck by lightning 4 times a day from head to toe. It was dealing with, dry hair and having to conquer that so that I wouldn't lose my hair. It was boils, rashes, your skin texture changes. It was so deep, nerve challenges. It was impaired vision. Different segments of it was losing use of my different limbs. Um, and so my journey wasn't linear by no means. And what I found was it was not only about what topically I was using or internally I was doing nutrition, it was also about as I healed certain areas that needed to be healed in certain situations, I got bits and pieces of healing. So I had to do all those things. It was holistic, and this is why pollination focuses on holistic, right? Because it's mind, body, soul, spirit. It's the physical. It's all of that, and knowing how to bring about the change so that now you can move past it. You can get into a place of feeling and looking your best, right? In balance.
Right. So, what did you decide to do? Because now you have this whole company
Mm.
now that's dealing with this. What was your first? What was your vision for this when you started out, and like, what was your first product?
Yeah. So the first, the vision was to breathe life into society, right? And so I've morphed that more into transforming lives. Based on all the consumers and their experience, and like, wow, you transformed my life. You gave me that confidence back. And so that's how it's morphed a little bit, but the mission of still looking and feeling your best and helping you to bloom into wellness, that's still the same. That has not changed with pollination. The first product was the strengthen and stimulate hair butter. Okay, so about, hey, if you're going through any kind of hair thinning, any kind of hair loss, thinning edges, patches, balding, have alopecia areata, etc., nothing's working, because Chandrika, I've had a lot of different ailments beyond just eczema in my life, right? I was a premature baby, 3 pounds when I was born. I had asthma growing up. I had been diagnosed with acne when I was a teenager and through adulthood, to IBS, which is also an autoimmune challenge, to hypothyroidism. It was different things popping up throughout my life. And when I start to look at things differently, um, I could bring all those things back in balance. So it was like, a lot of times I feel like in Western medicine, um, we want to, look at things in a micro level, right? But I think then we miss the key, which is maybe our systems are just sensitive, right? We have sensitivities, we have a sensitive system, and sensitive not meaning a weakness, but yet your system is actually really strong and it's telling you that BS there, nah, it's not working. And it's giving us an opportunity to change things. So That's kind of some of my beliefs. But the Strengthen and Stimulate Hair Butter was the first product. I always talk about the original three: the Strengthen and Stimulate Hair Butter, the Inflamed Healing Balm, and the Calendula and Plantain Healing Balm. The original three.
So my question is, because I have to, as soon as I get out the shower, I have to apply all my products. I use a certain lotion that
Mm-hmm.
I found over the years that works best for my skin. I use actual coconut oil that I get from a store that sells coconut oil to cook with.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to lather up really fast because if my skin starts to dry out, it's going to get a patch immediately. Like within the next couple of minutes, I'm going to have an eczema patch. So, do you have products that help address that issue? Like when you're going from the shower bath to the lotion?
Absolutely. Yes.
What do you have for that?
Yeah, so we have the Cheerio body cream. Now that one, I usually make it only like once a year. And so actually I am getting ready to make a huge batch of that for this, winter fall season. So everyone is always asking me when I'm bringing that one back. Okay, so it's coming back this season. So the Cheerio body cream, the Holy Grail skin oil, that was a new one I developed during my journey to conquer what was happening with my skin and where I felt like I was burning from the inside out. And my skin had turned very alligatory, dragonish.
Mhm.
It was, whew, I felt like I had an eczema and psoriasis all at the same time and something else, right? So times just burning. And yeah, and then the calendula and plantain balm.
Wow.
Okay. Yes, yes. And then that one comes in a 1 ounce tin where you can take it anywhere you want, even if you just want to put something in your back pocket. But those are the
Calindia and plantain balm can be found on her website at pollynation.com. That's Pollynation, pollynation.com.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Wow. So
Yes.
now, you have a website, and you're selling these products, and do you have like a team with you? How does it work for you?
Yes, yes. So, we've had to pivot and do things differently in these day and ages. And pollination is not only on, pollination.com, we're also on Amazon, but we're also in retailers. So if anyone is near a Mom's Organic Market, a Wegmans grocery store, or a Earth Fair, we're in those retailers. And yeah. That's how you can access and get Pollination Apothecary to you ASAP or your friends or family. And the team, well, the great thing is I've worn so many hats in my corporate days, right? I've had over 22 years of experience in innovation and brand and product management, working for these big CPGs, consumer packaged goods companies, healthcare and personal care companies, like Kimberly Clark and New All Brands, etc. So I had so many different skills as a scientist with my and an MBA and working in those different spaces that I was able to bring these things to pollination and wear many hats. And so at times my team looked like 7 people, and now it's a smaller team just because the times are different. The economy is different
Yeah.
of what we've been through since COVID and then the recession that we're still in. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to get a picture like with my law office. I'm a solo. However, I employ several people. Um,
Hmm.
sometimes I can go from employing 4 people to employing nobody, um,
Yes.
depending
Yeah.
on how the season is and how the flow of work is. So I understand that from this standpoint. I also own a hair salon, and so you can go from having 5 booth renters to no booth renters, like we did in the pandemic. Because that's so the COVID-19 really took a toll on a lot of small businesses. What I learned through that process, was that because I'm an entrepreneur, my husband's an entrepreneur, and we don't have direct deposit to rely on. And we don't have a company to give us insurance. And so we had to figure this out on our own. And what we realized was that we had to find multiple streams of income other than just the sole two businesses that we were running. And so as a result of that, we had to step up our teams, diversify with different outlets. I started several businesses during the pandemic, and all of them are really thriving right now. I became a mediator, started a supervised parenting time business. So I understand when you say my team can go from this number to this number, depending on what is taking place with you. Now, where are you? Is those stores that you cited sound like some East Coast stores?
You know what? Yes. I am so like ready for like, hey Myers or something like that. You need to bring Pollination on to Michigan. Okay, my hometown. I'm from Detroit. And so we're gonna see, when I can, Pollination can just roll on up to Detroit. Okay, because my family's still there,
You gotta come. Now,
yes.
you gotta reach out to them because we have three Myers now inside the city. So that's an awesome thing. You say you're from Detroit? What
Yes.
side?
East side.
Oh, sorry.
East side, yes.
Exit 9 all day, west side, Southfield, Joy Road, all day long.
I know that area. Yes, I know that area well. Yeah,
Did you go to you went to school here?
absolutely. Yes, I went to K through 12 in Detroit, Michigan. I when I was leaving middle school, I've always been in those gifted science kind of curriculums and middle school and all that elementary. And so I say this to say that I took the test to get into magna school, right? And so at the time when I was taking the test, it was 3 magna schools in the city of Detroit. It was Cass Tech, it was Renaissance, and then it was King, right? Part of the school was traditional and part of school was the magna program, and that was new as before I graduated middle school. So I took the test to get in. I got into Cass and King, and those are great because they were on the east side essentially.
Right.
Renaissance was like, oh, that's all on the west side. I don't know about you, Chandrika, but I had to get on the bus. Okay, I didn't have the parent to like drive me everywhere I needed to go, so I knew that was going to be my transportation. And so I remember one day taking the bus to Cass Tech because I was like, well, which one is it? Is it King? Is it Cass Tech? And I said, well, I got to catch this bus. So let me see how this bus ride is and how do I feel? And I remember taking the bus ride to Cass Tech, and I was like, this is far. But most importantly, early in the morning, when you're getting the bus at 5 something in the morning, so you can get to school at 7.
Very dangerous.
It was dangerous at the time, right? It's gotten better now, but at the time it was dangerous in that area. And I was like, yeah, no, I can't do it. And I took the bus ride to King, and I was like, okay, it's far too, but you know what? It felt less dangerous. And, and so I end up accepting the Magnum program at King. But yeah.
Oh wow, that's great. I have a cousin that graduated from King. Most of my cousins graduated from Cass, but she's the only one I believe that graduated from King, and she's a major lawyer now.
Yes.
She's out of Chicago and Louisiana, so she's King is great. I think they taught her how to learn Japanese, and from there she's an engineer as well as a lawyer. So shouts out to Detroit Public Schools doing the right.
Yes.
Who were all teachers at school. Yeah. So Detroit, the people don't sleep on the D.
Don't sleep on it.
Usually when you find somebody that's doing something well and you like, and they say, oh, I'm from Detroit, you better know it that most likely they went to Detroit Public Schools.
Yes.
Yes, that's a great thing. So I heard you say that you are a scientist.
Absolutely. I have my bachelor's of science in chemical engineering.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Because my little cousin, she used to work intern for Kimberly Clark when she was in college. And I heard Kimberly Clark as well. And we used to get all those products from Procter Gamble and Kimberly Clark and all this stuff when she was there. And that's how I learned about reading labels on the stuff that you in order to invest in stock.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you use in your house or you use on a daily basis, you should have some stock in that, because obviously it's a necessity for you. And then if it's on the stock market, you might want to buy stock in it. And that's how I've been investing ever since then, since she do that internship with them. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as being a CEO, what is some of the challenges that you're facing as far as getting your product to market and develop and upscaling your business?
Mm. So right now, my whole focus is upscaling. What the eczema journey taught me, because it wasn't linear and it was over some years where I was learning, and also learning about new allergies that came into play, sensitivities that came into play that wasn't, or anything that elevated to a more serious level. Um, I came out of that realizing my time and energy is so even more so critical, because at times I couldn't even get out of the bed without like feeling like I was going to pass out,
Yeah.
and I didn't know if I was going to make it through. And I said, okay, God, come through this. I'm going to share everything I've learned with the community, because as you said when we first came on to the podcast, that yes, many people are suffering and dealing with eczema, and it's becoming a bigger and bigger issue every year. We spend over $80 billion as a country on this, plus, and so everyone's affected, of different backgrounds and ethnicities. Yet people of color are more severely affected. Our eczema, if you say what's that, and on the scale, usually we have a higher percentage of those who rate their eczema as severe.
Yeah.
And so I want to share so many different tips on that, because it's more than just taking care of your skin and your hair. It's these other things that we need to deal with. I'm going to be sharing tomorrow in my eczema masterclass at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But and so coming out of my eczema journey, I was like, oh, my time is so much precious, my energy is so much precious, that things need to be done differently, right? It takes a lot of energy to run a business. It takes a lot of energy to pop up. It takes a lot of energy to go to trade shows and do these different things. And so I said, how can I be most productive? How can I reach the people who need pollination, and be more productive with what I have, but also that whole different team needs to be in place, right? I've been able to build something from nothing into a brand, into retailers, and but yet in order to upscale, a different team is needed, and I had to envision differently, right? To say, what's my vision, right? How can we make this happen, right? Because this is for me. I'm spiritual, and this is a God given business that came to my heart, that I've been on this path, and so upscaling it with the right team, with the right resources. That's been very much so on my mind, and a lot of time and attention this year towards that.
I think a lot of people may not know that eczema extends not just from your all over your skin, but that includes your scalp as well, right? And so I know you have a line of products for addressing your hair too, correct?
Yes.
Okay, what's that?
Yes, yes. So those products are really good at taking care of that itchy, irritated scalp, right? So no matter if you've never been diagnosed with psoriasis of the scalp or eczema of the scalp, you may just be feel like, wow, I always have itchy, irritated scalp, but don't know why. And so this is why the pollination hair care, I talk about how it's eczema friendly, because it's super clean. Right. And so we're doing things differently than what the mass industry is doing, have been from the beginning, so that now you can realize, oh, maybe I don't inherently just naturally have itchy, irritated scalp. It's the different ingredients that I've been using, even the stuff that cause themselves natural. So we are at a whole different level of clean, and non-toxic and eczema friendly. We'll take care of that. So when you come over to pollination, now you can stop using medicated shampoo, or prescription, this or that, and be like, wow, okay, my scalp is back in balance. This is getting what it's need in a very gentle, loving way. right? So you can say, oh, I'm not going to be triggered. And we have, products for hair growth as well, but also nourishing of the scalp, right? If we don't take care of the scalp, we're not going to have, beautiful hair, or just healthy hair, whatever your goal is. And then products for the styling, like, I have wash and go. I kind of keep my hair care simple. Um, and so a pollination takes into consideration different sensitivities and ingredients that may create allergic reactions or just sensitivities. And when I say sensitivities, it's like, hey, you on the Western medicine scale, if you went to an allergist and you did a test, certain things will come up, but certain things will never come up on that Western medicine scale. And this is why I talk about sensitivities, because a lot of times I think those are like the silent, I don't say killers, but those are the silent things that are affecting us and putting our bodies into turmoil and out of balance.
Yeah, I think that your products would, in this age of quick weaves, braid downs for wigs, and braids, period. And I think that a lot of women are experiencing uh, eczema of the scalp, psoriasis of the scalp, and they don't know it. They're undiagnosed. And the fact that I think your products will work well for women who are uh, who do the quick weaves, who do the braid downs for their wigs, and for those that do the braids and keep them in for extended periods of time. As somebody who I get my hair braided a lot. um if I don't oil my scalp every day, I'm going to get an eczema patch inside of my head. And sometimes I'll get them and I don't even know that I have them. And my kids be like, "Mom, you got a patch." And
Mm-hmm.
so I think your products work well for someone like me who experiences eczema patches inside the scalp. Yeah. What is that? What is that?
This one here is the LOL, the Loads of Love hair oil. This is why I developed this one here. It's nourishing that scalp, but also nourishing the hair, and it doesn't like grease up and weigh your hair down. So now, if you're wearing your hair in braids, like you said, or weave, if you're wearing your hair in wash and go or twist out, this is going to be great. If you're wearing your hair in a nice sleek style, you blew it out and flat iron it, or if it's straightened, then this oil is going to work, and it works for all backgrounds. So this is a very popular one, and it takes care of that itchy, irritated scalp, those patches in the scalp. Because again, if that's not taken care of, now you can get, hair thinning. And then if the thinning is not taken care of, now it becomes, possibly permanent loss, right? The follicle is dead. So, and pollination goes into it from a nourishing standpoint. There's a lot of products on the market that talks about hair growth. And there's something to be said about growth, right? But
Yeah.
there's also something to be said about nourishing the
Yeah.
scalp and the hair in the right way.
All right. I'm in total agreement. And your products are eczema friendly, holistic, and plant based, correct?
That's correct.
So, ladies, if you haven't, you need to try them out. I'm telling you, you need to try them out. As somebody who suffers from eczema severely, it's not. I'm on the scale. I have had this issue since I was a child. Out the womb, I've had the same issue. And so, as somebody who's an advocate for making sure that my skin looks its best all the time, I'm recommending that you attempt to try the Pollination Apothecary products and see the difference that it's going to make in your life. I think you'll be majorly pleased. So I appreciate you and your products and thinking about us, and as a scientist, going into the lab and formulating all the things that we need to make ourselves a better human, and to get us where we need to be as far as nourishing our scalps and nourishing our skin. I really appreciate you.
Thank
So
you.
now I have a question for you.
Okay.
I'm a culture queen. I have stuff in my brain that I shouldn't have, or about things I shouldn't know about. It's just what it is. I'm all things pop culture that I'm not supposed to. So about pop culture, what pop culture fact that you wish you didn't know?
Ooh, that is a good one. One of the things I want to share is okay. So me, I'm gonna be real here. I have past, traumas and scenarios. And one of the things about pop culture is I love some of the pop music. I can't deal with hard rap because I don't like some of the things what is said about women, etc. But I love many different aspects. But sometimes if I'm listening to a Cardi B and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in that mood, I'm driving in the morning or whatever, I have to be careful because it may then resonate with some past kind of, trauma or, negativity or, a certain type of vibration. And then I'll be all of a sudden in that vibration and I'll be like, wait a minute. I need to move myself on back to a different vibration. So for me, it's like, it's a time and a place for, what I'm listening to, when I'm listening to it, and knowing that I can be triggered based on my own personal experiences back to something else if it's on a certain vibrational plane.
Gotcha. Now, if your day fails to go as planned, how do you react?
Ooh. You know what? Lately, I try to be in grace and more, but I have to say, I found myself dealing with having to step into a room by myself and do a little scream therapy sometimes,
Okay.
just to release the emotion because it's like, I cannot believe this is happening. Okay, I'm not going to scream at somebody else, but I need to release that motion so then I can process it sometimes. And so recently I've done some scream therapy. I do breath work as well, so that I can process through and honor the emotion, right? I don't stuff it down anymore and act like I'm not feeling it. And, no, I got to process it. And those couple of those techniques helps me to do so.
Wow. So I do the same. So when
You
I
do?
embarked on being a full-time lawyer versus working for someone else, I started studying all these different people who were telling me how to, be well in business, how to balance, do self-care. I started doing all those things. And two of those things that I learned was the breathing technique, meditation, as well as scream therapy. So I do have a couple of TikToks up there. Anybody want to go see that? I actually do scream therapy while I'm just because being a lawyer and it's particularly being a lawyer for family law cases, sometimes it gets so frustrating and you just have to scream. I'll go outside and I'll ground myself. I'll be barefoot and I'll just start screaming, talking, trying to get it out because to bottle it all in is not good for me and it's not good for anybody else and it's definitely not good for my clients. So I have to let whatever energy that I've taken on from someone else, I have to let that out. And so I do the same thing. I do scream therapy as well as the breathing techniques. I one of my physical therapists from years ago said, you need to just, she said, smell the roses, blow out the candle. Smell the
Mhm.
roses, blow out the candle. So when I get to a point where I'm heated, I'm like,
Mhm.
roses and I'm blowing out the candle. And so, yeah,
I
I
love that visual.
subscribe to that as well. So that way with kindred spirits, no,
Yes, we are. And the grounding, getting in nature and the grounding. Yes. Yes.
I hug trees too. I
Yeah.
hug too. Once I learned that actually trees give off this energy that we need in order to sustain us throughout the day and keep us balanced. I started hugging trees. I have all these trees in my around my home, and as well I have a trees by my office. I just hug them, and it
Yes.
does change my mood. It's weird because it's not something that I would have thought about as a child, and nobody taught me as a child. It's something I learned as an adult. Now I thought, but think of all the kids that were happy being outside amongst nature, doing
Definitely.
all the things. That's because you were getting the love and nutrients and stuff you needed from nature, and you just didn't know it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally with you. And you can even feel sometimes if you hug a certain tree, you can feel the water, the life force in it. And you're like,
Yes,
whoa.
yes. That's strange, but it's not. This is a true thing. Trees have vibrations and they have this thing around them. If you get caught up in it and you center yourself and get exposed, you'll feel those things. And yeah, some might call it weird, but I call it necessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, what is your purpose for existing?
Ooh. My purpose is to help people, right? To bring the light, the wellness to help people. And that's what I love to do. Even when I look back at, you know, being little, being my first jobs, I always loved helping people. Um, and I feel like that's what I continue to do in pollination as well, like, and it's just, focusing on how I help people, right? It's like, oh, you're dealing with some skin ailment that you don't even know the cause of it. Come see me. Come see pollination. We'll help you. You're dealing with some, random hair, challenge, an ailment or hair loss, or, dry damage here, what have you, and you can't trace it back to, why is it happening. Come, we'll help you. You'll get results, and get you on that right track, the track that you want to be on. So I continue to show up in that way of, holding that space and helping people.
That's awesome. Now this is the 50th year anniversary of hip hop. Assuming you love hip hop, what song made you fall in love with hip hop? Because I heard you say you don't get down with the sexy reds and the Sukianas and the Jackie Inas, Jackie O's. But what song made you fall in love with hip hop?
Yes, I love hip hop. I was a little girl when hip hop was starting, and I remember, sometimes if, my father or my grandmother, they would, had to do their weekend errands, and so me and my brothers would be home, and then they would try to turn on Luke or Too Short, and I'd be like, I'm liking this. Put on Salt and Pepper when they came on the scene. And I just remember just loving them so much. And then they were trailblazing, right? It was like one of the first, women groups, to be in this hip hop space where it was so male dominated. And they were talking about stuff, but not in a explicit, way, but in a way that, you could resonate with, right? And it flowed, and they were talented. And so I really love Salt and Pepper, and especially their first album, right? They had so many good ones on there, like
Oh yeah.
Push It, and
Oh wow, yeah. I had Salt and Pepper's tape as well as I had Too Short. That's funny you mentioned them. I think Too Short was my first introduction to rap being different than Run DMC lollipop type rap. I think because I think I might have mixed like a tape somebody made for me of Run DMC and Curtis Blow.
yeah,
I had a tape of them, but then like somebody made. I didn't have a real tape, but then I got a real tape like from a cousin of mine who lived in Cali and of Too Short, and I was like,
it
wow,
was different.
this is me.
Okay.
I'm in love with it.
Yes.
Give me more of this.
Yes.
Well, yeah, Salt and
My
Pepper.
brothers brought it in the house. Okay, I was like, okay, I knew the lyrics probably better than them, because I mean that's what they would, turn up to.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a good one. Okay, so if you have the attention of the whole world for 5 minutes, what would you say?
Ooh, ooh. You need help? Come see me.
I like it. That's what,
Help? Come see me. Come see Pollination Apothecary, and we'll help you get on that right track. We'll help you.
and that will lead us to. So, if the listeners want to support you, how would they go about supporting you?
Ooh, yes. I really love that word support, right? I remember first starting to hear, support as a verb by the Village Market, that's in Atlanta. But anyhow, that is true. Support is needed. We never get too big that we don't need support. We need support, and that could be, hey, even if you don't have the funds to buy pollination, that's okay. um, Share it with your friends and family. If you don't have eczema, you're still going to thrive with pollination, because we're toxic free products, right? Non toxic solutions that's going to help you thrive. But then share with your friends and family in your tribe that does maybe have eczema or is challenged with thriving in it when it comes to their physical, their body, their hair, their skin, etc., and other as well. So because I also offer Reiki and I know different healing techniques I love to assist people with. But it's not always about buying the product, because I know that everyone is could be in a different situation at different times, but sharing it so that, hey, the word gets out is also super critical.
Right. And so you can find Pollination products at her website, Pollination, POLLYNATION.com, as well as on Amazon. And if you're on the East Coast, is that correct? Is certain stores, and what are those stores again?
Yes, Mom's Organic Market, Earth Fair, which is even in the South, and Wegmans as well. So we're in over 7 different states with those three retailers.
That is so amazing. And remember, she's a scientist. So why you on social media following people who are making stuff in their kitchen and didn't even read a book? Stop it. This is a whole scientist who went to school, product of Detroit Public Schools. Shouts out to DPS, because they cultivate the best.
Yes.
Who has created products with you in mind for your issues, your particular issues, and you need to go support her, as well as love on yourself and get the proper products you need for your skin and your scalp. Thank you so much, Miss Abram. I really appreciate you agreeing to be on the podcast and let everybody know about you. I appreciate you reaching out to me, and sending me your products and giving me an example of what it is that I should be doing as far as taking better care of my skin and supporting a fellow sister at the same time. I really thank you for that.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So this is the end of the podcast with Carli Abram, who is the CEO of Pollynation Apothecary, and we thank you for joining us this season, season 3. We hope to bring you more informative interviews, as well as information you can use and products that you need. Thank you. And keep listening to the Hoodrat2Harvard podcast on all platforms. Also, follow me on social media, and you can follow Pollination as well. She's on TikTok as well. Is that correct?
That's right. We on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, yes, and even YouTube.
That's what's up. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Bye.